Hello, everyone, and welcome to past paper practice session for specifically for APM. And the most important thing is that what I have done now, I've got the most recent paper that I've released for APM level. That's December 24 attempts exam. I'm not sure whether it's of December 24 or what, but it's been released just now, right? So for both of my exams for SPL and APM, I'll be solving these papers just for you guys so that you can exactly know that whether it is what's tested, right? As I've always said, that these past papers are kind of a medicine. If you're doing too much old past papers, it's good for drafting, but it won't be affecting that much the way that the new past papers are doing. Reason is that this will let you know that what examiner is testing nowadays, right? So I'll be conducting daily and regular classes for these past paper practice sessions for SPL and APM. Well, for today's class, we are doing APM, and more specifically, we are doing for December 24 exam. That's ACCA has just released, and it's particularly available on portal, right? It's particularly available on portal. So, sir, who can on the exam portal, right? So, who can exactly take this class? Obviously, those who are enrolled with me, they can have the full access to the classes, right? Enroll with me so they can have a full access to the classes. And I'll be uploading some extracts on YouTube as well, right? I'll be uploading some extracts on YouTube as well. So you can see from there, and more importantly, once you have seen this class, what you have to do, you have to go on to the exam practice portal, right, and try to attempt other papers as well. You have to go on to exam practice portal and try to attempt other papers, because only key to pass these both papers is practice, right? In fact, what I have done for you guys is, in my classes, I remember what I have done is I've made an analysis, just like this September 22 exam. These are the three questions that examiner has tested, and these are the topics they have tested, right? Similarly, September, December 23, 24. Similarly, 21, 22. So I've made an extract that these are the questions. Now, what I'm claiming is that I'll be solving these questions one by one in front of you. Whereas, since you are the only student, so you have to solve these questions with yourself in exam time and condition, right? In exam time and condition, and have to send it to me for marking so that I can evaluate that where exactly you are lacking, right? And once we have done all these questions, and yes, all the theoretical classes that I have uploaded, I assure you that once we have done this sort of practice, it's for sure that you are going to pass. It's particularly for sure that you are going to pass because you have done enough and much enough practice, right? Enough, and I'm saying a much enough practice, right? So, therefore, this was the suggestion of mine. Now, let's begin with this question. So, yeah, if I'm uploading this class, so you might be needing my number. So, my number is plus 923312623849, right? Plus 923312623849. You can contact me on WhatsApp on this number so that we can connect and we can guide you, right? So this past paper practice session is relevant for all the students, those who are attempting APM in March, in June, or so on, right? And similarly, I'll be uploading the class of SPL as well, right? So guys, this is the most recent question. So why we have to attempt most recent question? The reason is that it gives you a taste of examiner, that what examiner is tasting, right? So taste of examiner if you have known, so you can revise those topics, you can exactly go on to that and have an idea, right? Now my strategy to particularly for APM is that read the requirement first, right? Read the requirement first and have an idea that what examiner is testing, right? So read the requirement first rather than going on to the question. In fact, you can read the question details here, that the following exhibits available on the left-hand side of the screen provide information relevant to the question. So organization information, background information, objectives, and introduction of balanced scorecard. So I believe this is a question from balanced scorecard, right? The Jail Medicine Regulator, JMR. So this is a question from, I believe, from balanced scorecard, right? There might be a question. So this is exhibit 1 that's going to tell us about the company's background, its objectives. They are going to introduce balanced scorecard and Jail Medicine Regulator. This might be the company. Then we have some consultants. So you might be playing a role here, right? You might be playing a role here because in APM, you guys are always considered as consultants. So might be your role will be with this BSc instructions from the CEO on the work done by consultant on the BSc for GMR, then value for money, information about work to be performed on whether the consultant's KPIs in the financial perspectives measure VFM, so value for money approach, right? So information about the work to be performed on whether consultants KPIs in the financial perspective measure. You have got this information in exhibit 3. Then we have new information systems. See guys, the technology based requirements are going so much important, right? So technology based requirements are getting importance and they are being tested regularly. The big data, in fact, in the SPL also you can see that in fact SPL, you see the tech-based requirements. These requirements are tested again and again. Whereas I see that work required on the application of lean principles. Now, so which topic is this? I believe so. Lean management, a topic that we have covered just in the previous lectures. It's lean management that have been tested here, right? So guys, if someone haven't seen the theoretical classes, I'm going to suggest you that please see the theoretical classes first, because this is particularly going to be important. If you are seeing the theoretical lectures, so you must be having an idea of the knowledge that needs to be applied. Although the past paper practice is a separate practice and that needs to be done too much, right? The thing is, if you have covered the theory, you can exactly replicate in the past papers practice, right? And then we have appendix 1. So kind of Excel numbers I can see here. So Excel numbers, see. Here's that extract from consultant's report on the introduction of BSc at GMR. The information should be used to answer the question requirements within your chosen response options. Okay. So while reading this particular page, what we have got, while reading the first page, we kind of have expected the requirements, right? Although in some times the requirements are not at the last, whereas in sometimes they are in the exhibits as well. So we have to take care of that. Sometimes they are in the exhibits as well. So we have to take care of that as well. Then consultants, BSc, we have got some instructions to be worked on. So we need to go on to exhibit 2 to identify the instructions. I believe that there might be indication of requirements here as well. Then value for money approach is going to be tested, and lean management kind of a principles are to be tested with information system. And then there is some appendix. So we have just got an idea that in this first 50-mark question, right? This is the first question that's 50 marks, that's going to be testing all these things, right? That's going to be testing all these things, right? So this is fine. Now, before going on to the exhibits, what I'll do, I'll go on to the requirements here. I'll go on to the requirements. So my requirements are here that we have to write a report. You know about the format, right? You know about the format. So to the board of GMR to respond to its instructions for work on the following areas. So you have to respond to its instructions, consultants, BSc, value for money, and new information system, 14, 12, 14. So it gets around 40 marks, and then 10 marks are for demonstration of skills in communication, analysis, evaluation, skepticism, and commercial acumen. That means all 5 skills. And guys, we have had a detailed discussion on the skills, that how you can have these skills, right? In SPL, more specifically, you have done all of that, but someone who is doing APM first, we have had a very detailed session that how you can tackle communication, how you can tackle analysis. In fact, in this particular class as well, we are going to have these skills there, right? In that particular classes as well, we are going to have these skills to be tested, and I'm going to teach you that how to be done. But as far as reading the requirement, we realized that we have just got marks here, right? We have just got marks here, not the requirements. So requirements are in the exhibit, right? Before getting requirements, if you have known the requirements, you could plan your answer while reading the exhibit. But if you haven't got the requirements, so you have to trace the requirements also, so that your mind could work in that direction and you can jot down some important points, right? So what you have to do now, keep your eye open, to make sure that you have got requirements in exhibit, right? You have got requirements in exhibit. You have to make sure that you are aware of the requirements, because if you're reading an exhibit in a detailed manner and you haven't got the requirements, so you'll be confused while coming to end. So make sure you know requirements. Sometimes examiner writes the requirement here and you have an idea, and whereas sometimes examiner didn't write the requirement. Yeah. So let's particularly go on to the exhibits and have an idea that what exactly they have done. So first exhibit gives you the background information, the objectives, the introduction of the BSc about jail and medicine regulator. I believe that this might be a company or some kind of regulation that they have done, right? So background needs to be done. Yeah, while reading the SBL, the exhibit seems too long, whereas reading the AP, the exhibits are not that much long, which is quite a good thing. So jail and medicine regulator oversees the testing process medicines in jail and on the go. This particularly seeing a testing uh, in right? Yeah. Apologies for the internet disruption. Yeah. So we are kind of in government oriented sector, because a private sector doesn't test the medicines. It's kind of an, or if it does, so there's an influence from the government as well. So we'll be reading it and we'll have an idea. And people of JLAN, it ensures that all necessary tests by pharmaceutical companies are carried out to acceptable standards. Yes, we are the ones, those who are playing with the lights, right? If our recommended medicine is not up to the mark, so it might cause a severe impact, right? So it's kind of a responsible business that we have. Rather than making a profit-making business, I believe it's a more responsibility, right? And now then it makes the final judgment about whether a medical product can be sold in the country or not, right? So there might be issues of ethics as well, right? Some companies are involved in selling these kind of products that are not up to the mark. They might bribe. I don't know whether this thing is tested or not, but what we see in the practical world, see, SPL and APM, they both are practical papers, right? They're practical influences, the practical recommendations are required here. Now, a new government in J-Land has produced new objectives for JMR, which are to protect and improve public health by ensuring. So we have got the objectives now. We have got the objectives, the importance for us that medicines have an acceptable quality in providing a beneficial treatment. The users of these medicines understand the risk benefit profile in taking any authorized medicine. See, if some medicines are treating the issue, there might be some concerns as well, right? There are certain other concerns that it might damage certain organs, and what antibiotics are being avoided. The reason is that it might hinder the other organs of the body. It might it might treat the main issue, but ultimately it's hindering. Therefore, the regular dose of those, or at very first, the antibiotics are not particularly recommended, right? So what objectives of our company is that our medicine should have an acceptable quality, it's fine. Then customers should know the risk benefit of it, right? The risk profile of that medicine and the benefit profile of that medicine. And new medicine development is encouraged, right? Now, new medicine should always be encouraged. Why is that? The thing is that there are new kind of diseases. Okay, so if there are a new kind of diseases, so the reason is that new product development, right? In my last organization, I worked in a pharma company. So our key focus was on NPD. Our key focus was on new product development. Reason is quite simple, that the more the products they're going to be having, the more the profits they're going to be making, the more the public related issues they're going to be dealing with. So I believe that this is particularly an important uh, objective that they have been given, right? So see, they have given you an intro of their organization. They have given you particularly the objectives of particularly to that, right? And now, as the government is concerned to manage public funds properly, JMR must deliver value for money. So that means you're using the public funds. So value for money is also required. So I believe that this sector is a public sector, and government influence matters here. The regular eye from the government matters here. And if that's sort of the case, so rather than on the financial performance and financial KPIs, your entire focus would be towards value for money. So if that kind of a question comes, which is the recent one, so that means examiner has a greater test in particularly getting in students tested towards the non-financial factors or kind of these public sector organizations rather than the traditional financial performances that have been used to evaluate regularly, right? So while reading these paragraphs, so we got an idea that what exactly students or examiner wants from the students, right? Yeah. So let's discuss the other parts as well. JMR is a governed by board of trustees appointed by the government. So yeah, it's a run by the trustees rather than the directors, right? So again, a public sector. It is funded directly by the government. Also, through fees charged to pharmaceutical companies when they apply for license for approval to sell their products in J-Land. So it's mainly funded by the government, but there is a fees also charged for the approval of the licenses. Like if you are in particularly a businessman who wants to register its medicine, so what will happen? You are going to file a particular license, right? So JMR is going to take a fees from. Now the government is currently under pressure to reduce its costs, so wants JMR to be financially independent. Now, see what's happening. Government is tired of funding JMR, right? Government is tired of funding JMR, and they really want that JMR to be independent. It's like a bad son who's not performing well. Although the sun was not at all estimated or not at all enforced to perform, right? So how could JMR would have been performed, right? But now government is short of funds and they are saying, oh, this particular JMR is taking too much money, so they want them to get independent. Now, see how JMR could get independent. Can you write some comments on? I am noting. So JMR could get independent once there are more products being listed, right? The more products being listed, that means the more companies would come. They would ask the license, and then JMR would get particularly a fees in front of them for licenses, right? So this is particularly a issue that you need to know, that government is not happy with JMR and they want it to be financially independent. Now, see, this is how you have to read the questions. I'm taking a lot of time, but I'm feeding the information in you. So while drafting, that feeded information could come, right? And that has to be done in 3 to 3.15 hours, right? Now, along with new objectives of JMR, the government has appointed a new CEO. The CEO brought in a consultant who has analyzed the balanced scorecard perspectives and has prepared a set of KPIs using Appendix 1 as a scorecard. So I guess there was Appendix 1, so why not? We should be seeing what this new consultant has analyzed before going to anywhere. Let's just see. So I believe the BSc perspectives has been interpreted, right? So consultants report, this is an extract from it, and it's introduction of balanced scorecard, right, at JMR. So the BSc perspective have been interpreted and KPIs are suggested as follows. So financial, this perspective relates to the value for money objective, and so we have suggested the following KPIs to measure each of the three elements. So financial perspective is done through, since it's a not-for-profit entity, it's a public sector organization, so we need to apply value for money, which consultant has correctly applied. So total cost was $77 million, which has increased from last year. Please calculate the increased percentage as well, right? Efficiency, the cost of deciding a new medicine was accepted for use in JLAN was 0.75 million. So what they do is they do research that whether this medicine should be registered, the need of medicine, similarly the criticality, the pros and cons to the people, and then they do allow or not allow. So the cost is that, right? And that cost is calculated in total cost of running with the number of medicines authorized during the year. So total cost of running and total number of medicines authorized the year. And effectiveness is the percentage of income derived from external fees as a percentage of total income. So this was 77%, whereas in last year we were 72%. 77% of our income from external source, right? From external source, not from total. Total includes the government subsidy. So that means we have got more 5% income, right? The government, we have reduced the government burden by more than 5%, right? So that means we are getting effective day by day. What's the effectiveness definition? That we should be 100% independent. That our government wanted, right? That we should be 100% independent. But so far, I guess I expected a lesser percentage, but this company is going good, right? It's 77% dependent on external costs, right? Then customers, the perspectives, these are the perspectives, right? So financial perspective, the first one of the balance scorecard. Then customer, it's this perspective identifies what matters to our customer, who at GMR is the government. Its objectives are covered by value for money concerns within the financial perspective and also to protect the improve public health. So what this has said that our financial perspective is this. Now our customer perspective, what they have noted is that which matters to our customer who at GMR is the government. Its objectives are covered by value for money within financial perspectives and also protect and improve public health. Then we have KPIs for that. So what's the KPI for that? So average life expectancy in J-land. So average the people lived was 75.2. By number of deaths due to incorrectly authorized medicine, it was 25, whereas 34. So I guess we are performing good, right? I don't know. We'll be reading in much more detail, but as far as these numbers are seen, that wrong medicines have killed 34 people last year, but this time 25. Although this should be zero, huh? This should be zero, should have been zero. But what if it isn't? It isn't a problem, right? But ultimately, it's 75.2 years, and life has increased as well, right? The people have lived longer. So people lived longer. Okay. Then due to death arose through a single bad batch of one medicine, right? So in 2024, if we see 21 deaths arose due to one bad medicine. So if that would have been eliminated, so what would happen? So 34 minus 21, right? So 34 minus 21. So it's going to be 34 minus 21, 13. So I believe, right, that last year, if that one bad batch of medicine wouldn't have arrived, the issue would be of only with 13 people that have died due to wrong medicine. But in today's year, it's 25. So a complete overturn of KPI. As far as this picture is concerned, oh, you guys are going great. You have reduced the number of people that have died because of wrong medicine. But ultimately, you realize that in 34, there were 21 those deaths that was one bad batch of medicine. So if we eliminated that, that means wrong medicines have killed 13 people in the last year, but now it's 25. So ideally, both comparisons should be made. And apparently, this seems that we are worsening here, right? So when we analyzed through a bird eye view, we got, oh, there are different things. Oh, there are problems. But we analyzed in detail, so we got a much more better idea. Now, internal business process. So this perspective considers the processes which we must excel in order to achieve our financial and customer objectives. The KPI reflect the importance of having qualified staff and the speed of processing applications. So average time authorized to an acceptable new medicine is 6 months. It's good. So 6 months they are taking to evaluate a medicine. And number of staff vacancies unfilled for more than 3 months in a year. So unfilled for more than 3 months in a year. So this was 6. So it's 2004, right? Now, innovation and learning. Innovation and learning. So the perspective considers the ability of the organization to maintain its objectives within the changing environment, right? So perspective considers the ability of the organization to maintain its objectives within the changing environment. So number of new medicines, yeah, that can only be the innovation that this could have brought, right? In the year compared to running 5-year average, the number of days staff training, yeah. So it was 400 days, 382 days. So training have increased. So far, we haven't got any requirement, right? And number of new medicines applications in the year compared to running 5-year average. So this is a KPI, and this is the other KPI of innovation. 1, 2. Then we have KPIs of these as well, right? So write a report, instructions to the work in following areas, consultants, BSc, value for money, and new information system. So till far, we have read the balance scorecard, right, at GMR, that what exactly is the issue here. And then we have got the first exhibit being done, in which we have been told about the balance scorecard that have been applied. So we got to review that. But so far, requirements are still unclear, right? Now, exhibit 2, the board of trustees require a review of work done by consultants. So this seems to be the requirement, right? What consultants have done in Appendix 1, board wants you to review, right? but you have been advised to ignore the financial perspective at this stage, and this will come under the heading of value for money. So while for the first requirement, they have given you that please review the work that they have done. Like now you are going to see the definitions, what they have made, the KPIs, more importantly, they have made, and any additional KPIs, right? The KPIs that they have made, okay? And any additional KPIs, any additional KPIs. So see, a tricky requirement, which was not mentioned there, but in the exhibit. So this is also sometimes happens and students run here and there. That's how where are the requirements, right? Now, the board believes that you should begin with the assessment of whether the consultant has correctly described the other three perspectives. Okay. So whether it has been described the other three perspectives, then the board wants specific suggested KPIs under each of these perspectives. Board do not want to re-perform the KPI exercise, so it has advised you to focus on these suggested KPIs and note if there are limitations of their coverage. So they don't want you, right? They don't want you to do this. They want you to explain whether these KPIs are sufficient or not. So they want you that whether these KPIs are sufficient or not. So I guess the first requirement is clear, that you have to totally evaluate this report. So first requirement is directly from here. So first requirement is directly from here. I guess you got this up. Now, exhibit 3, let's see. The final objective is for value for money using 3 years in achieving its other objectives. The board has asked for more precise, now again board has asked explanation of what it means, and then evaluation of whether consultants suggested KPIs and the financial perspectives measure this or not. So the second requirement comes here. What they're asking you to do, that more precise explanation, that what means whether consultant has suggested KPIs in financial perspectives are performing value for money or not. So again, evaluate someone others' work. So what you have to do, you have to evaluate others' work. You have been advised that you can, if needed, suggest improvements. Now here you can suggest improvements and better KPIs for the measure. So here, improvements, other KPIs are accepted. So I guess now both of the requirements are clear, that this is totally to evaluate. This is also clear. So this must be telling you about information system, the exhibit 4.1, right? So now see the pattern that examiner has adopted. First exhibit, one exhibit of detailed information, and then 3 requirements hidden in 3 different exhibits. 3 requirements hidden in 3 different exhibits. I guess I'm clear. If I'm not clear, please tell me. If I'm not clear, please tell me. Now, the consultant has recommended that new information system to be put in place to gather, process, and report on the BSC indicators. The system would involve an unfilled unified database for all performance reporting across the organization. The board was initially impressed with the idea that this should be a lean system, as this is something which is number of other government bodies have been are taken to improve the qualities. However, the consultant's explanation that the new information system helps to structurize, sanitize, standard, and sustain left the board confused. So again, a complete topic, right? A complete topic which we have covered, that's lean management have been tested, right? So lean management have been tested. So again, now what we need to do, simple, that we need to explain the new information system. So what the pattern would be here, that how new information system would make this organization leaner. And this can only be attempted once you have done lean management, right? This can only be done once you have done lean management. So Bond wants you to explain the 5S in the context of introduction and maybe implementing these lean principles, right? So Bond wants here to explain the leaner perspective. So I guess, guys, now these 50 marks have been cleared to you. Now, sir, what we're going to be doing, the thing is that I'll be solving this particular requirement completely with consideration of all the professional marks that they have given, in detailing that how we're going to be getting it right in the next class. So what you have to do, you have to jot down the points of this particular exam, and this particular requirement, that what exactly you would have been right. So then I'll upload also a class that includes my answers in a detailed manner on exam practice platform. So in next class, we're going to be doing this particular in exam practice platform. Till then, please jot down your points. And since this class will be uploaded to the social media, so this is my contact number. You can particularly contact me if in case you want to enroll in our past papers practice revision session, right? So see you all in the next class. I hope that this question explanation would have helped you. The more better it have been explained, the more detailed the answer could be. So I'm hoping to get many scripts, many pointers, many discussions, that it's a learning experience, and hoping to get this soon. Thank you.